Love you like I will.
Yeah.
Only a woman. Touch me in that place.
Saturday nights and I'm partying. Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Scat, scat, skibbity.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Gotta keep burping.
Wildly Uninteresting Podcast, episode 111.
Podcast
111. 111%.
Brought to you live by Westwood One.
Westwood. Welcome back to the show. We took a break last weekend.
What?
Mental break.
I don't know. I thought it was more physical, but whatever.
Both. No, but welcome back to the show. Super excited to be here. Super excited to talk to all 20 of you.
Hello, 20 y'all.
Hello.
Hey, 20. Hey, you know actually what baffled me? And this is a weird thing about not like going back and looking at your analytics, right? As much as it looks like only like 20 people view here and there, right? Mm-hmm. Say, because I look back at like number 20, right? Or number 34 I looked at too. Mm-hmm. And some of them have like 300 views. Some of them have 60-something views. Some of them have like 150. But generally speaking, like, yes, you want a lot of views in the beginning, like that first whatever week, right? But the majority of people watch it like outside of the general people that watch it, after the fact.
Yeah.
Like
You
when
just
a
want to
month goes by.
let it sit, you know?
Yeah. And I didn't know that until I started looking back at like previous episodes. I was like interested in like how many people actually watch this motherfucker, because I want to know.
Yeah.
The only one that bugs me is like the analytics as far as the RSS feed goes, like the audio only, is harder to track because it's across multiple ones.
You have to go to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, if you do tune in, I won't put this at the end. We greatly appreciate you listening to our bullshit.
Yeah,
Half
thanks,
the time it's ill facts. We don't even care about those. But we like to sit here and bullshit. So we appreciate you bullshitting with us and wasting your time.
Yeah.
Let's face it, all of us are wasting our time here on Earth, right? You might think
But are
that
we?
the shit you're doing is
No.
like point, like you have a point to the shit you're doing.
I have a point
But is
to
it? Is it, bro?
Yeah.
Or did society and like schooling and shit like that put emphasis on whatever the fuck you think? You know what I mean? You built that through your, what do they call that?
I don't know, meat and potatoes.
No, like it.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Like in scientific study, right? You have your biological shit that like your genes, genetically speaking, like they do it, and then the external world is, what do they call that? What factor is that?
Environmental.
Yeah, like environmental factors, right?
Yes.
So you have your environmental around you. Is that
Or
why you
external,
feel?
I don't know. External motivational
That-
factors.
That works for me,
Yeah.
right? So you have that. Does that give you the feeling of like, I'm doing something that I feel is purposeful? You know what I mean?
No.
Or is this all just bullshit?
It's just bullshit.
It's just bullshit, right?
I just roll around the world like a tumbleweed in the wind. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like I told Casper similar thing this morning. It
Oh,
was like,
look at us.
oh, that's
being
not how I
tumbleweeds.
planned it. And I was like, I don't really plan a whole lot. I don't know how it's going to come out. So I'm like, well, that's how that went.
Yeah. Check. Moving on.
Usually when I like wake up in the day, I have those thoughts, like especially like with death and shit like that. Like I have those thoughts constantly. Like, is the shit I'm doing actually purposeful? Like I almost laughed at a salesman that was trying to sell me like this bug spray shit out in my
But
driveway.
instead I bought 2 quarts. Of it.
Just because like the human interaction between, like, because this dude was like, he took classes to sell me this shit,
He
and
showed
like he
up
was
on a
legit.
Segway.
Hell yeah.
Without like the handles, it was just like a fucking board, and it
Yeah.
was like he was a shit. And not only that, but I mean to a T. Plus, he was a beautiful man. To a T, this dude knocked it out of the park, right? I knew already because we had taken him from Mr. Electric. I was like, I'm not gonna buy all this shit you're selling is fucked up, right? But
He took classes from
Yeah.
Mr. Electric to teach you how to sell.
to sell it, to be a salesman for
Yeah.
your product, right? Which was electric at the time. But this dude fucking knocked it out of the park. But him looking me in the eyes and like selling me it, and you could tell like the little bit of nerve, it just made me laugh. And I wanted to laugh in his face because I thought the human interaction between me and this guy, like, what on earth, why is what you're doing purposeful? You know what I mean? And you feel like it is because you're selling like it's gold to me. Like, this is just a weird interaction, bro. You pulled up on a Segway without the handlebars, so I don't even know what that's called.
Maybe the purpose is the problem. Why do you have to have a purpose?
No.
Everyone's so focused on what is my role in this world.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck?
See, I tend to think people get hung up on the idea of purpose as like an end game type thing.
Yeah.
Instead of just making
the
progress along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for yourself.
So, I mean, it's
No
like anything
external.
that you did in the past, it's like, well, you've surpassed all that shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that crap was meaningless, but it wasn't meaningless because it's allowed you to be what you are now.
Right.
So, all this crap of purpose, it's really just rungs in the ladder of evolution.
Yeah.
Right.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I
That's
got
exactly.
Yeah.
So get off the man.
No, I think what I guess what I was getting at is the fact that like sometimes I wake up and I do that, but there's often times that I forget that I give a shit about like death and my purpose and what is all this for and shit. And sometimes I'm just like watering the plants or going to work and putting in people's electric and talking about audio equipment with some stranger. And I'm like, in those moments where I forget about like, what's the meaning of life? And I'm just doing life. Am I happier in those moments, or am I happier in the psychological mind fuck that I'm doing to myself every day, thinking about death and purpose and happiness?
Well, what do you think the answer to that is?
I think probably when I'm not focused on that and
Yeah.
just focused on that.
So then maybe the purpose of life is to just enjoy the process.
Yeah, in that moment, whatever the fuck you're doing, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because remember we had a conversation when I was how old was I? Like 25 or 26.
I don't know how old you are now.
That's what I was going to say. I knew you wouldn't know how old he is.
I'm 31 now, but I think I was 25 or 26 at the time.
Yeah.
Might have been a little older, maybe right before we started the company, so probably 29. I'm a little off. And we were driving up to the park, and I was like freaking out about just life and shit.
All right.
And you were like, man, when I was 25, I was thinking about 35. And then eventually I got there, and it was like, what the fuck ever.
who cares?
Remember that talk? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 31, I'm like, that shit came just like whatever. And like we started there's things that I did within that time period that I wanted to, and there's things that I wanted to that I didn't get to do. But I'm not fucked up about it. So I guess you just enjoy like that time period.
Yeah, it's like anything. I mean, you worry more about it before it happens, and then it happens. You're like, what was all that about?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think because I was freaking out that I was coming up on 30, I think it was.
Yeah.
And you like talked me off a ledge because I'm over freaking out. I'm like, I just don't get this fucking world.
It definitely
shit.
will. And I mean, that anxiety essentially is what it is. That constant worry of, am I doing what I'm supposed to be? Am I fulfilling my fucking prophecy? Like,
Yeah, my role in this.
I know, and you start thinking about that shit, it's like, well, if I'm supposed to fulfill any kind of anything, then, maybe should have been a little more clear about where I was going.
seriously, with what my goal is.
I'll straight put God in a chokehold. I don't care because I'll be like, bro, you didn't make anything obvious. You didn't
I'm
send a
allowing
sign.
you to do this.
But he'll be like, remember that feather that hit you in the face when you were like playing baseball that one time as a kid? That was a sign. I'll be like, go fuck yourself, bro.
Right? I forgot about that until right now.
Send me to hell, bro. I'm ready.
Now it's welled up, son.
And you gotta stop focusing on all that stuff. I mean,
But do you though?
yeah, I mean, just be happy, be a good person, be kind, and live your life.
Unless you dig the stress, then fine,
Yeah.
dwell on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I do dig the stress though, but they were saying that the majority of like free thinkers, people who've changed the world, like Leonardo da Vinci and shit like that, most of those people were mentally a little fucked up. Like,
Well, I can definitely see where I would have no impact on the world because I just don't think. I'm gonna watch TV or I gotta cook.
Whenever I change the world, I'll pay tribute to you. I'll be like, what's so special about her? All she do is cook and hang out with cats. I mean, like, But
What's
without
wrong
her,
with that?
without her, I wouldn't have cured your father of cancer or your mother of AIDS.
That's right.
So I'm going to cure all those things. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
That's
great.
I text her
Let's
the
do
other
that.
day because I see multiple people like out here that wish that they live like the city lifestyle and like they want to be in the city, and there's country people that in West Virginia that want to get into the city and do something, get out of that town.
Well, then do it and shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, and then you have people in the city that can't wait to get the fuck out of the city because they're losing their mind.
Get out
and
of
they're
the city and shut the fuck up.
right.
Yeah.
But if you're always like red wanting blue, what the fuck you do? You know what I mean? Like you just like you said, be happy as you are.
Yeah.
Because that's all you're gonna
And
have.
if you're not happy, get to changing.
Yeah.
Don't just
or
bitch
kill
about
yourself.
it. Yeah.
Could be
Dude,
the
I'm glad
bitch.
you said that because this whole thing reminded me of a Morrissey song.
Oh, that makes
That's
me want to
good.
kill myself
Yeah.
for sure.
Thank
you
God.
know, it's like if you're going to sing, then sing. Don't talk about it. If you're going to kill yourself, then to save face, get on with
the
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the kid.
We were just talking about Morrissey yesterday, and remember at the concert for Riot Fest, we were like, we want to see this guy just so we could tell Ian we saw him. This
I
motherfucker
just
made
wanted
the
to
crowd
record
wait.
a damn video for
Yeah.
you.
This dude made the crowd wait like an hour and a half until like the vendors stopped selling beef or
Yeah.
pork. One of the
It
two.
was
All
probably
of it.
both.
All of it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't understand that. Luckily, though, I had to get back to Louisville because we had to be back to work. So I was like, fuck this dude. I only wanted to see one song. Didn't even
Right.
get to see that shit.
No.
And you think
I
the
didn't even
Misfits would
want
be
to
bigger
see
deal.
one song. I was just trying to be a good sister.
Hell yeah.
Fuck this prick. Not you,
That's
him.
what-
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what you get for trying to be a
I'm
good
thinking like the
person.
man
Wow.
can do no wrong in my eyes. Honest
Gosh.
to God, it doesn't matter.
It made me so mad. It still irritates me to this day that he's just so up in arms. Which, I mean, I get it. Like, cool, stand up for what you believe in, but is this really that big of a deal? Because they sold Dead Animal all motherfucking day, all fucking weekend, and you didn't say a damn thing about it. So what's this little hour and a half gonna do?
Well, I mean,
The
let's look
animals
at it
are
from
already
the
dead.
perspective of you're Morrissey, and we're at a festival, and they've had grasshoppers and crickets and cicadas and bees flying around the whole time. But you go on to perform. And you're like, can you put that shit up while I'm up here? What if it gets on my neck?
I definitely get that, but still, the fucking vendors, it's not gonna get on his neck. I mean, I know
so
it's
you would
not
perform
literally.
with all the bugs flying around.
I
mean,
mean,
you're getting paid
look,
for
if,
it,
if this is
you
what
know?
I decide to do with my life, and
Yeah.
I'm performing concerts outside, I gotta deal with whatever the fuck comes.
No, I mean, they're like bug vendors.
Oh, they're bug vendors.
Yeah, like instead
Am I
of
performing in there
yeah,
in the bug vendor housing unit?
come on by the hut.
Well, then I will say right now, 100% confidence, I would never choose that as my life choice of what I do. Never. Sounds terrible.
No, probably not, dude. Oh, I wanted
Morrissey.
to. You had said something before the podcast, but I want to publicly
Hold it, buddy.
talk shit to you. Okay.
Before we move on, I'd like to maybe bring a little joy to your life that Morrissey has an album that's finished, but no record label will put it out.
Why is that?
Because he's a prick, and he's probably
Yeah.
very difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet in the studio he'd be rough to
His
work
last
with.
label,
God,
like
yeah.
there was some personnel change at the higher up level, and they're like, we don't need Morrissey anymore, drop him.
Damn.
And so yeah, but he's like, whoever wants it, highest bidder, that's fine, we'll put it out.
What?
Yeah.
See, they shelf dudes like say
Awesome.
somebody's hot as fuck and they have like one good song, right? They come out with that. They come out with a second CD. I mean, they're paying this dude let's say $2 million, right? For that first go round. He comes out with the second, or she comes out with the second album, and like the label doesn't think it's gonna make it. They'll shelf that motherfucker
Hell yeah.
and just kick him to the curb. Like they
Yeah.
have the right to do that, and the dude don't even get it, or the whoever don't even get their album.
Fuck them, don't sign dumb shit like
It
that.
stays on the shelf, bro. Like,
I'm
can
so
you imagine?
desperate to get my shit out. I'll put at risk my future shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Oh,
imagine
great.
that. I'd be so pissed off. Like, what do you do? Because if you copyright your
step
own
in.
music, they'll sue you.
Yeah.
for putting that out.
You get to step and you take the loss. There's nothing you can do at that point unless you've got just the dopest lawyer in the world, which I doubt that your lawyer is better
He's not that
than the record labels.
He doesn't have that prowess of Eugene Victor Toombs' lawyer.
Well, he should.
We just watched Squeeze last night.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's just, anyway, what were you going to say, man?
Oh,
the
so
best.
Tom DeLonge has put on this huge front about him like hunting down aliens
It's not a front, you son of a bitch.
just to sell you
But
a book.
isn't it-
Is what I heard.
No.
Let's face it. He
I don't know.
like 5 years ago, he was like, "We're releasing this like special metal that is from like a spaceship, an alien spaceship, and we can prove it." Right? 5 years later, he's like, "Hey, I'm coming out with a book that's gonna like tell you about all this stuff that I've been doing." But like,
I feel
is
like
it
it came
though?
out in like 2018.
The book
Yeah.
or the metal?
The book.
Oh,
Yeah, the book came out a few years ago.
Where's this metal,
The
though?
second book came out a few years ago.
where's the spaceship that he was
I
supposed
don't know, it
to
doesn't
present
matter,
to
but
the
you know
world?
what he did present to the world?
What?
Black and white.
Formerly
Angels and
classified UFO crap that then led to the government saying, hey, yeah, we don't know what these
Did
are.
he release that?
Yeah.
You sure?
His company is To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science.
I'm
and
gonna
He's working
fact check this.
with like government people and like former DOD people.
I talk shit about some real shit, like government shit, and
Yeah.
I'm never I want to fact check this.
That's
Can I
fine.
just say that
I'm gonna sex would you?
sex would you?
I want a doctor sex would you right now.
Sounds uncomfortable.
Very.
He's definitely has some butt stuff involved.
That fucking preliminary report
Yeah.
was just like a duh. They basically said, okay, well, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to fall into one of 5 categories, most likely.
Right.
And that's where it ended.
Oh, but
it was terrible.
don't
No,
you
no,
think?
but I
though-
mean,
I assume
yeah.
there's more to come because it's preliminary.
yeah.
but I mean, just based on the fact that they're no longer saying, "Oh, it was swamp gas. What you saw was Venus." You know?
Oh, yeah.
They're like-
Seriously,
they're
Venus.
like, yeah, we don't know what this is.
It was
So
like
I mean,
95% of sightings is Venus.
it's not.
You know-
here's your fucking data and stuff. They're like, yeah, we don't know what this is. We acknowledge it.
Hell
Onward.
yes.
That's huge.
What
I
a fucking
guess.
sham it is for humans, right? To you live in an infinite universe. Clear, we know that for a fact. Like
Yeah.
that's fact, right? And
Actually,
you-
we don't know that for a fact.
Well, we know that we lived in a vast one that we can't see the farthest reach of that universe.
Okay,
So
I'll grant you
to
that,
us,
To the best of
It
our
looks
ability,
endlessly.
we
Yeah,
know it
right.
for a fact.
yeah, it looks endless to us at this point. But you live in a universe of that incorporates all types of atoms and elements and shit that you
Sarahs.
can't
That's right.
comprehend, right? On a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
right? And I think we were watching the report from the Project Blue Book or whatever, and there was like 712, I think, that were like pretty much undefined. They could
Yeah.
not define them as like swamp gas or anomalies in the sky, lightning ball,
Russia.
lightning, blah, 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 right?
Lens flares.
718,
Right.
which
Dust.
I am
I think it was
apt to believe.
701.
Dust.
Yeah. I'm apt to believe that there's far more than that. Out of like 3,000, I'm sure there's a vast number of it, more than like 701 or whatever it was, right?
Right.
Because us as humans, we just have this urge to explain everything. But don't you think that it would be better just to be like, hey, we don't know what the fuck we're doing here?
Yeah.
Right? As scientists, like half the time, we're wrong in 10 years. Like, we don't fucking know. We do know that we live in a ball and it floats through the
Well,
universe.
see, that ties into the purpose thing. Again,
Yeah.
it's like it's not end game. We don't know everything for sure, but if we didn't know that shit 20 years ago that was wrong, we wouldn't know
Oh,
the
but
shit
we're
now that's
Gotcha.
probably going to be wrong in 7 years.
Hell yeah.
and it
Progress,
feeds into like
not
a bigger.
perfection.
Yeah.
Stop shitting on
Yeah.
progress, Adam. You sound like a Republican.
I'm definitely not. Like, we watched some of with, like the History Channel shit, which it is by far like the biggest fact that we live in the best time to be like alive. Like, we don't have to worry about like the Dust Bowl and the Depression
Wars
and
going
wars
on our
every
planet.
fucking 10
Dust Bowl
years.
thing
like-
is still a thing. You know, Jim Ray used to live in Oklahoma. He was like, yeah, I lived there. It rained mud.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Crazy.
Well, see, they never really solved the problem. That I think a lot of people think that problem was solved. And what it was they were just taking from the earth and never putting back cover crops because the bigger we grew, the more they had to grow. Well, they started pulling nutrients from petroleum.
They were cutting
NPK.
Corners is basically what happened. Like,
so they were just
fucking
putting.
do it right.
That sounds like kind of a pun.
Yeah.
They were just putting nutrients, like false nutrients, really, when it comes to it, because it had no like microbiome. It didn't have beneficial bacteria, and they were just stuffing this shit in the ground, growing more on an industrial scale, and just taking and taking and taking from the earth. Really, the earth at this point is just a medium, like an inert medium. It doesn't even have any living shit in it, right? And that's where they say that the majority of our cancers come from and shit, because we don't have the beneficial bacteria in our food anymore.
Right.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Like even the real shit's fake.
That real fake shit.
Real fake shit. But I can get on board with that. Like the progress of it all. But we were watching the History Channel. It's best time to be alive, right, in history, in our history, right? But as you're watching these videos, like trying to like place yourself back in those positions, like if I was ever to be alive, I think I was alive during the time where there was like shit on the street of New York.
Yeah.
And like just like thugs everywhere and gangsters and shit with the fucking hat. And I don't know, man. I'm always drawn to like the
Hat
1920s.
gangsters, not like pants gangsters.
Right, that's right.
Just how quick, like they went through what 100 years of history in like no time on that thing, and I'm like, damn it,
They
dude.
definitely, I mean, I understand the point of it was like its greatest moments, but they really just
Sped it
flew
up.
through it. I was like, Jesus, they're not even talking about,
No, I
this
know.
or this.
I
But when
recently grazed over a thing. Are you guys familiar with the year 536? Did you know that was a year?
I knew that was a year, theoretically.
All right. Well, there's speculation that was possibly the worst time to be alive as a human.
That specific year, not
Yeah.
even like around it.
No,
That's
536. Because there are like paintings and like historical kind of records of like they didn't know why this was happening, but they were like the sun has been blotted out for a year, and it's like the sky's dark and shit, and they
Damn.
speculate that like a volcano somewhere
Yeah.
blew the fuck up
Oh,
and just
yeah.
like wrecked everything. So like it destroyed their crops. They didn't know what the hell was going on, and people said like families started eating their babies because
I see that.
they didn't have anything. And they were like, "What the fuck did we do to deserve this?"
No shit.
So yeah, I definitely want to look more into that.
yeah, that
No.
sounds great.
But I mean, when you think of it that way, like at any time, shit like that could happen. Like we
Yeah.
have it really, really good. But you think about like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and like at any time you could just have your head blown off, or you could die of cholera. Like
Yeah.
we don't even know that disease no more.
I don't
like,
even know what cholera is.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody does.
I've heard it thrown around, but I couldn't tell you what happens.
No, or like lupus, or fucking
I just know that from the Bloodhound Gang.
rickets. I don't know.
I know
Lupus
that
is a
because of
thing
Chris
that's still
Rock.
prevalent.
Jesus Christ. I know all of these things only loosely because of entertainment.
Yeah.
Lupus is a
Smallpox.
thing that's real still.
Yeah.
An infectious and often fatal bacterial disease of the small intestine, cholera, typically contracted from infected water supplies and causing severe vomiting and diarrhea.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But you could die
So
from
food
this shit
poisoning.
back in the day.
Yeah, I know.
And I think the thing that they pass over 9/11, right? Of course, it's always mentioned on the
That's
history
because it
channel.
was a Jewish conspiracy.
Of course it was.
Of course it
I'm
was.
not debating that. But they start showing like a couple like pieces of old footage, and there's some of them that, of course, I saw when I was younger, and I'm like, it baffles me that I was like 13 or 14, maybe no, I was 12, 11 or 12 when that shit happened, and I just think about like how fucking quick it feels to me like that was yesterday, like mentally speaking. And I spoke to a 50-year-old lady the other day, and she felt the same way. She's like, I don't feel different, but there's things I can't do now. Like there's things I can't bend the right way, or things hurt, this, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but up here, I feel like I'm still 17. I feel like I'm 15. Like
That's what traumatic shit does to people.
yeah, man. And well,
Like, oh, move on. Well, I tried.
Do
Oh,
you
okay.
feel? Do you actually feel different than like when you got out of high school or
Oh,
when you were in
yeah.
college?
Way
Do you
different.
really feel like? I mean, mentally.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
I've fallen off a vehicle since then.
Yeah, no
Oh.
shit.
I don't know. I just feel like the same person. Like there's that, like it's still me up there.
No,
and
no,
shit.
no. Because, okay, so what happens whenever you listen to bands that you listened to in high school? Do you feel the same, or do you think, oh, I
No.
remember when I liked this?
Yeah,
There you go.
mostly that. Yeah,
Go from there.
yeah. But I just thought back about that and like when that shit went by so quick because I feel like that shit was yesterday. To me, visually speaking, or like up here, it feels like that shit happened yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could 10, 15 years pass that quick? But it does.
Yeah.
It
Hell
does go that
yes.
quick. And then when you go to like on your
Also
deathbed,
considering it was 20 years.
was that? Yeah, one of those. I can't count. I went to public school, bro.
Just on it, man.
PRP didn't treat
We took
me
a week
well.
off, I gotta be ready.
I had these all just sitting in my back pocket waiting. It's just
Adam, say something.
Yes.
Say something.
anything. That's awesome. But I can grasp that concept. I mean, I can tell I'm a different person than from when I was younger, but
Right.
I feel like the meat and potatoes is about the same. I just have
Yeah.
like different gravy or something. Yeah. Which sounds dirty and
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
sorry guys.
To an extent. I almost said to an cent. To an cent. I feel you.
Come with us.
But I mean, yeah, there are still similarities there, and to a degree, like I'll see that time has passed like 20 years. It's like, oh, okay, that does sound a little fucked up,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I was watching a study the other day that said that technically changing the course of history or changing history as we know it, it would only take one generation to completely wipe out previous history.
Yeah.
Because they just
Alexandria,
slowly
man.
change it. You know what I mean? I just thought that was interesting. I'm like, so the weird thing is because we watched the study and of course it popped up in my real life. We stole this like weed plant when I was younger, and I always felt like it was
You're like
in
6.
No, it was like fucking
That's how it is in
15
my
or
head.
16.
Okay.
But
Let's go.
a buddy of mine called me. He was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." And I'm like, "Cool." Long story short, I envisioned it in a vehicle that my family owned. But once I got to thinking about it, after my buddy told me, he was like, "No, it was in my parents' vehicle or whatever." And I'm like, "Huh," because you're only remembering the last time you remembered a certain thing, so you can't really say anything's a fact that you remember because
Right.
you're continuously kind of changing it a little bit, like the game telephone, right?
Yeah.
And
One man telephone.
yeah. So imagine 500 years.
Right.
Like, how do we know that? How do we know?
Yeah, and it's all assumed based off artifacts and stuff that we've found.
Or that,
This
that
is
they
how it
tell you
happened.
that they found.
Yeah,
or that school
definitely.
teaches you. Like, so how do you know?
This goat is clearly sniffing this tree, which represents this.
Yes.
See?
It's
see
so
this?
obvious. How do you not understand this?
But I think it would be easier at this point in history to change the past for a generation. Like, they could do it quicker because of how connected people are with social media.
Yeah.
Let's just face it, they're a little bit dumbed down. Now I understand why the Vietnam vet, like the old grumpy fuck, was like, "Oh, you don't know what fucking hard work is and shit." He's right.
Yeah.
Or she's right. Because we
She
don't
doesn't know. She raised kids, and that stays
Yeah.
the same through all generations.
Like, I can get that anger, and then like I'm sure that by the time we get older, like the shit is gonna be so easy for kids. Like they're gonna just be able to think thoughts and create something on a
My
table.
robot butler opens my Dunkaroos.
Yeah, as much as it was super easy for us, it's gonna be even easier for them.
Excellent.
So we're gonna look back grumpy, like those Vietnam vets are like the ones that stormed Normandy. Like,
I've already started doing
they're
that shit.
mad as fuck.
Where like it's like, kids today, they don't fucking
know.
But then I think, well, I was a kid, I didn't give a shit. Everybody can eat my ass.
Yeah,
But then that's just a lack of adaptation, I guess, on the part of old people to consider how they work, because they still view themselves as they assume they were then. They're like, I had respect.
I never
Yeah.
acted that way.
Yeah, I bet you never drank your parents' booze and snuck
Right.
over to your friend's house to watch their sister shower.
Yeah.
I've done that.
So upright.
No, that's like for real though. I can get on board with all that. Like that's why I said on like 2 podcasts ago that I was like, I'm gonna stop saying, oh, like these kids don't work and shit. Maybe they don't want to fucking work for dog shit wages anymore, and they're standing up for
man.
themselves.
I learned about a new
right.
thing that reminded me of.
What?
Like,
What?
have you guys heard of drapetomania?
No.
This is during the time of slavery, and there was this doctor guy. He said that black people weren't running away from the plantations because slavery sucked and they were being treated poorly. It was because they had a mental disorder called drapetomania that essentially made them run away from home.
Jesus Christ.
What?
It's insane.
So,
What?
doctors.
Oh my God.
I thought that was pretty cool.
It's
So,
it's different. It's a different outlook.
yeah.
Drapetomania.
Drapetomania.
I don't know if that's how you spell it, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah, man, well done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's an E in there.
I was gonna say I feel like there because that's draptomania. Got
That's
that
a
drapto.
that's a dinosaur fighting disorder.
I hate it when this kicks in.
To his fight. Oh, he's got that draptomania.
Man,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
man.
know what to say about drapetomania, man. I don't believe that to be a fact.
No,
Probably not.
definitely not. No, that's
No.
some made up
You
bullshit.
have to be retarded. Oh, man. God, I went into a hole. Like, I learned that, like, that whole idea came from an episode of Tucker Carlson. There was, like, a little segment that I watched on YouTube. So, I looked up drapetomania. I was like, well, it's on Fox News. I better look into this. And, it
Yeah.
checks out. So, in the next one, or maybe it was it was the same fucking episode. It showed a clip of this like military general guy, and he was talking about how he needs to learn more about quote unquote white rage as it pertains to all the Trumpers like overthrowing the Capitol and shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, yes, this is a very real thing, this white rage. I don't understand it, but I need to look into it. And then Tucker Carlson was making the point where he was like, this is just the same kind of shit, where it's like, oh, only white people get this?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look into
Like
it.
there's not rage everywhere. Yeah.
So it's so beneficial to the story, to the storyline to say white rage is the issue here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Majority of those people were
Then it
white.
just made me think of Chasing Amy and a black rage. But then I felt shame for the Fox News thing. I was like, you know what? You watch some of it makes sense, some of it's garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority I think is garbage. There was a guy that I was watching, Max Egan. He was like fucking from Britain or somewhere, right?
Sounds like he's from Britain.
I was listening to clips. I'm like, this dude has it figured out. Like he's a independent thinker. Like he outside the box and shit.
And
But
then he said
I
some
listened
fucked up shit, didn't he? Yeah.
But those were like
Drink the
excerpts,
blood of the
like,
bruise.
where they give you the highlights of whatever he was talking about. And I'm like, this is fucking fantastic. He's right. Very, very spiritual, very hippie-like. I'm like all over it, right? But
Clown
then
him.
he was like talking some major shit about like the Trump stuff and about all these like child molester stuff. I'm like, oh man, he's just another like Q dude. Like,
Yeah.
fuck this guy. And it's not like generally speaking like the Q stuff, like fuck that. But that's like Fox News coming out, like that's their biggest argument about the Capitol stuff is about like they're not releasing like 3,000 hours of video or some bullshit, right? But maybe it's because they're like building their case like they do everything.
Yeah.
And they hold on to it for 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe
Why
make
would-
your case faster.
Well, you can't.
Shit
man.
takes forever, but you'll lose. If you don't take your time, you'll lose.
That's true, but, like defendants and shit, it's not like, well, we're not going to court until I finish making my defense. It's like, here's your court date. Have your defense ready.
Right.
So I feel like it should be, here's your date. Have your fucking prosecution ready.
I think it's after. So like that is during that process of going to court. But like when they were building the case against me, they had a majority of what they needed to do it.
Well, you
but
didn't
they
make
let
it
me
hard
do
for
like
them.
20, 30 more crimes before they ever came at. Like they had a folder this big
Right.
that matched up things that I stole to the hour, like of what I did. And I'm like, why didn't you get me on the first one? They were like, we were just letting you build them up.
Yeah, it was like it's
They're
like
gonna
they
bring
just
him to you.
wanted to let you go, and they're like, maybe if he'll just stop, he'll be an alright guy. Oh, here he goes again.
Goes again. But so I guess in that like building process, that the Capitol is a little different because it was so outrageous.
Well,
so
and I
quickly.
mean, to build stuff too, like to process things and to talk to people and to get all your information and your timeline,
True
like that shit
detective
just
work.
it takes time.
Plus, I mean,
can't imagine.
you're not gonna have one person doing it. If you do have one person doing it, it's gonna take forever. If you don't, then you
Forever.
gotta communicate. And I feel you, but maybe let's close the window
It
by
could
about
definitely
half.
like speed that shit up.
Did you
yeah.
see the new video they released of that white dude and his white rage?
No.
And they were at the gate, and he
White
starts
rage
like,
is back again.
White rage.
it's like a cop camera, right? A clip-on camera, and I mean, dude, if I was these cops, to the wall of people that they show in the new video, I would have definitely like pulled the barricade and been like, go for it, bro. I'm not gonna fucking like do this with you. Like they were coming at him like fucking long ass sticks and shit, flagpoles and stuff, and be like
Axes and
aggressive
shit.
as fuck.
My
Like,
God.
they were ready to fuck some shit up. Like, of course. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
they get in an altercation, of course, and then they're finally like pull the things. I guess they released it to prove that, hey, we weren't just letting you in.
Yeah, no
We
shit.
that was the next course of action. Like, why would we put our life in danger when we can just let you in and charge you later?
Exactly.
Like,
The whole bullshit of the Capitol and all the cops, Mike says that shit. The cops were letting people in. First off, they weren't everywhere. There's like one video of this one guy who exactly is like, fuck it, I'm not going to get myself killed because y'all are fucking crazy. You're
Right.
coming in
I'll
anyway.
say too, though, they have that one where the cop's like, "I'm on your side, and I agree with this." Of course, I'm sure
Well,
they're
they're trying to talk you down. That's
Yeah,
how
but he's
you
just a
talk
good
to
old
crazy
boy.
people.
Yeah,
Or
I guess
that.
so.
Yeah,
Like
this
talk
is exactly
to you.
how you talk to people. You don't. It's
Crisis
called
control.
de-escalation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
thinking
dude.
it's like somebody stealing shit from your house and you're not really equipped to stop them. You're not letting them rob you.
Right.
You're
Oh,
just
that'd be
not
like-
not.
Exactly.
having like a
Yes.
gun to your face, and you're just like,
Yeah.
"All right, man, here's my wallet." Because is it worth a bullet? And you don't know what this crowd is like ready to be about.
And
Like,
there's so many of them.
There's a lot of people.
Way more people on that side than there is on yours.
I got a question. What if they had shown up, right, and did like what Martin Luther King Jr. did? They sat there and they did this big prayer, right, and they were talking peace, and then got up, turned around, and walked
left.
away.
Yeah.
Like, would that have sent a bigger message? Well, of course, it would have sent a better message,
The
but
problem is they weren't trying to send a message. They were trying to overtake it and change the results of the
results.
eletion.
Yeah.
It definitely intent
different.
matters.
Wait until our
you know?
Savior gets here and sees what we've done for him.
I know.
the only bad thing is
Yeah.
like
Ridiculous.
they got in and shit, and it was almost like rats that got into a place with no food. Like they didn't know there was no plan
What are
after
we
getting
looking
in.
for? Yeah, just get in and everything will
Stand
fall
on
into place.
desk. That's as far as the plan went. Like so, and they keep saying, were they gonna like kill like the people that were on it, like Mike Pence and fucking what's the lady
Nancy
that I hate?
Pelosi.
Oh my god. Anyway, she's just like one of those ladies like. Fuck it, I don't care about none of the facts about her. The way she looks, almost just like what's the dude? Our governor,
Oh, Matt Bevin?
no,
Oh.
Andy
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Oh,
I
I
want
got
to
you.
blow a fist
Hey,
through
don't
that
you mean like
old
Uncle
motherfucker's
Andy? Okay,
face.
yeah.
I just want to punch him. That no chin having motherfucker. I got a lot wrong with me, and I'm willing to admit it. Right,
Mm-hmm.
white as fuck, redheaded, big ass head, fucking everything. Terrible, right? But fuck this
I
guy.
don't
I
know
want to blow a
what's
fist
Terrible
through
about
his
that.
face, just by the way he looks. Nancy Pelosi is the same way. I just want to rip her hair out and punch her in the nose.
I can't even make that
fucking
sound.
Hate her, not but for no other reason but like
Her face.
your
Some people's
essence, I hate.
face are just
Absolutely.
very
Some people
punchable.
do just have that face.
Yeah. Just would
None of
love
the
to hit it with a car. It would be great. But only your face. Yeah, it'd be nice. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my shit.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
kicked out of here.
But
Get out of here.
I was saying the whole Capitol thing and them saying that they were letting people in, just the cops were like, this is all right, it's fine. You know that's not true, but...
But they were.
Like, I don't want to
and
die
they
on the
weren't.
Mm-hmm.
job.
Right,
Yeah.
well...
What happened
You're
before
in-
that video?
That doesn't even matter to me. You're in control of your own actions. You know what your intent is, and you're not supposed to be here. Well, in
I can
there.
do that one, yeah.
So just because they move the gate and say "come on in" doesn't mean that it's okay for you to fucking do it. You know you're
those
not
cops
supposed to
don't
be
own
doing
that
it.
building either.
No.
Like, yeah, they can't. Like, even though they said it was okay, the U.S. government's like,
Those motherfuckers
you know
are
better.
making $40,000 a year,
They don't give a
maybe,
shit.
I guess, to
Probably
fucking
less.
protect this place. Pass. Nope, you can come in.
I think at one point we looked up like being a police officer. Some of them like made $14 an hour. Would you chance getting a bullet to the face for $14 an hour?
Nope.
I don't give a shit how good the benefits
Day in and
are.
day
Come
out.
on in.
I wanted to
Come
bring up,
on
I
in.
read
Come
this
on on.
article. It's got people in like a stink.
Oh yeah.
There was a police
Could
officer.
be anything.
Yeah. There's a police officer, and he went to protest down in front of the abortion clinic,
Right?
which, fine, you can do whatever you want, but he wore his uniform.
Yeah.
And LMPD's policy is you can't participate in any kind of political or religious anything
Right.
Yeah.
in your uniform. You can go and do it. Take that shit off.
Yeah.
And everyone, well, they said there's no harm, no foul. They're not going to punish him, which is fine. I mean, he didn't really do anything wrong, but, you know,
Right.
change your fucking uniform.
Yeah.
People are so upset. I typed that. It was on Nextdoor. I typed that. Why didn't he change his, he knew he was going. Why didn't he change his uniform before he left?
Well, because he's a
Work.
cowardly man and he
Yeah.
wanted to use the badge as his
Exactly.
strength.
I just could
it
not
amplifies
believe-
the situation.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Without him
so
trying.
up in arms about the fact that I said he should have changed his clothes. Like, I didn't even say I don't support police or I do. Nothing. I took
No.
it even to the next like level of imagine he's a cab driver and they said don't take the cab into these specific situations.
Yeah.
Like,
if-
it's-
instead of like a cop uniform, it's a Taco Bell polo.
For sure.
Maybe
yeah.
don't wear your Taco Bell polo to protest outside the abortion clinic. It looks
It's
bad on
just-
Taco Bell.
Absolutely.
And then with the idea of just the abuse of presumed authority, I guess, in the sense, because it's like if this motherfucker was in street clothes, we'd put a fist in his face if he steps.
Fuck yes.
But oh no, he's got a badge. We can't go at him.
Exactly right.
And then we're gonna
Yeah.
He
It's
can
an
get away
abuse
with a
of
little
fucking
more, too,
power.
yeah.
abuse of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know his name? Do we have his address? Let's burn him down.
Burn him down.
Fuck that bitch.
I just
Uh,
couldn't believe that people were so upset with the statement I made. I was like, it's
Right?
called being a responsible adult. You
Wait,
learn.
what kinds of people are they?
Oh,
that were
they're
upset
from
by
out
this?
here.
They're just
fucking
old. No.
old
Okay.
redneck stupid bitch.
Blue
We-
lives matter.
We put a
That was
fucking
the number one thing. It
fucking
was,
re-
we put a
retards.
fucking a vanity out in the front yard and was like free 99. Come get it, right? Some old motherfucker. I'm sure whatever. They've lived a good life. They pay taxes, whatever. Great people, I'm sure. But fuck these people. The dude like comes up and I'm like, oh hey man, I want it because he has one leg. And I was like, oh, I was gonna come help you. I didn't get there in time, right? The first thing out of his mouth was, did you notice my American flags? And I'm like, no, I just got here, bro. He was like, they're upside down. We're in siege. Our country is under siege. And he was like, if I see an Antifa, like Antifa is one single thing.
Yeah.
if
He's
I
like,
see an ant in this house, I'm gonna
I'm
kill
gonna
it.
fucking he was like, I'm gonna put a bullet and they might get me. He was like, but not before I get a shot off. I'm like, it's a vanity, bro. Like, get
Yeah.
the fuck out
Yeah,
of my
why
front
are-
yard with this stupid
Why
shit.
are you talking to me this
So
way?
now it's
I don't
$100
fucking know you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
The
dude.
majority of the people out here are mostly like that, which I
Yeah.
don't give a shit. Be however you want, but like that,
Extreme.
it didn't
know.
warrant you fucking like telling me all about. I don't give a shit about your.
And seriously,
Say, just shut up and take it.
Yeah.
Do you want it or not?
Yeah.
Gimpy.
we weren't talking about anything. He was literally talking to him about like an outlet that didn't work. He was talking about doing work for the guy,
Yeah, and he was
and then
like,
he
check
just-
out my flag.
Did you see my
Flips out.
flags, boy?
talking about shooting people. Get
I
the
see
fuck
an-
out of my house, dude,
If I
or off
see an
my lawn.
Antifa,
Jesus.
My yard's my house.
Yes. Oh God. Yeah,
But
it's just,
fuck next door, because that just highlights all the fucking wrong that's in the neighborhood around you. Because I don't know, man. It just the stupidity rallies together on a lot of those sites.
I don't see how you couldn't agree with. If you're going to work for a company, you need to know their policies
And they don't like abortion out here. They're
and
like
follow
against it.
them, or you're not going to be employed by them. In the story.
Oh.
That's exactly what this is. It has nothing to do with him being a police officer. You could remove all the facts and just have like the bare bones.
Yeah.
The point is,
Dude wore his
he
work
went
shirt.
against policy. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with him being a cop, and that's what they wanted to make it about. They couldn't see that he was in the wrong.
Yeah,
He's
what
a
about the
police
fact that
officer.
he's a human with a job?
Yeah, I know. Nope.
That's like me taking a
right.
work truck to do side work at like
Seriously,
a job after
yes.
job. You get fired for that.
Perfect
Always.
example.
But I mean, the majority of people are stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm only saying that because I am part of that majority. I'm sure that I'm stupid
I
98%
am not,
of the time.
and the majority.
I know. It's like, you need to do something a little better about yourself there, buddy.
Oh, we all think we're not, but you definitely are. Like,
No, I'm
you
definitely an
are.
idiot, but I'm not. Come on, I mean,
Yeah.
at least like
She's
that's
not one of them.
logical.
Yeah. Logically
you can't
speaking,
even
yeah.
be logical in this situation because it's a cop and you think they can't do anything
Any
wrong.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I don't
Yeah.
get that. Yeah,
Hopefully
that's,
the cops will come and shoot in their house while they're fucking sleeping and kill them.
maybe, dude. That's I don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people, they don't like abortion. They think that, like, which is baffling to me. I don't understand that, and I don't understand why that makes it into the political arena. I don't understand why religion finds its way into political arena. None of it matters to the political stance. We still get paid like shit.
People's
bad
religions
taxes.
guide their views.
Then we need to have an atheist in the fucking office.
Seriously.
I'm sure, like, we've had them close.
Oh, close. Oh,
But-
good.
But I
Woohoo!
mean, it's not a matter of who's in based on their religion and shit. I mean, we just need a smart person.
Yeah, but
Because
stop
I mean, there are
calling us a Christian
scientists out
nation.
there. People use that like in a way that isn't even official. Because I mean, if I'm like, hey man, we're a nation of retards. We're not really a nation of retards.
Aren't we,
I've
though?
just,
Aren't
I've
we,
just
though? That's what I was
claimed
gonna say.
that that's how we are.
Come
So it's
on,
like, oh, this
man.
is a Christian nation. It's like
Well,
there's like a healthy, at least plurality
yeah.
of the population that's Christian. So I mean, by definition,
The majority are.
we could be a Christian nation.
Maybe.
Now,
It could also be any other of the.
Man, what if
I
we
guess
were
not.
a
we're a
majority
minority
nation?
Hindu nation.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be dope if we were like
be a lot
Hindus or Buddhists.
But then, if that's the case, then if you don't like it, you can get out,
That's right.
and then take your ass to
That's
India,
true.
my man. You want
It's
to be a
baffling.
Hindu kisser? Get to India.
But
Hindu kisser.
when it comes down to it, all those people that want to like stand behind like the flag steadfast and fucking agree with all this fucking absurd shit, when the shit hits the fan, they're gonna be left at the sideline when they finally realize that the government that they've cared so much about and bled for the flag doesn't give a shit about them. They're gonna be the ones hurting mostly. The ones
Great,
that
fuck
were
'em.
that they tell to get out or whatever, that have an open mind, a liberal sense, right?
Yeah.
Are gonna be more apt to change with the times. Whereas those people with that solid mindset are
They'll be more apt to change with the times, but then once the times change, they'll think, this is too antiquated. We need to change things.
change it again.
Yeah. Keep it moving. Progress don't stop here, buddy.
Let's go back to the way we were. I don't
Yeah,
know which
man.
one we're talking about.
I
I
miss
hear
the...
it,
No, it's fit. It fits.
but open it.
Yeah, it
fits.
definitely fits.
I miss the simpler times.
Yeah.
Whatever. The point is that those people that are the extremes, they're the minority.
Yeah. Do you
And-
think
The
they're
stupid
extreme?
people are just loud.
Well, yeah.
Probably, I guess.
I would say.
I mean, that jackass
Yeah.
with the flags He's not the majority.
Yeah, that motherfucker's definitely extreme.
Oh yeah, the dude. Oh, that dude.
Yeah.
I just
That
saw
jackass. He's representative of that kind of bullshit.
another redneck asshole out here. Which, whatever, do whatever you want. But
No, don't do whatever
why
you
would
want.
you
Take a
continuously?
stand, Adam.
Why would you continuously buy a stupid big flag, hang it on the back of your truck, and then in 1 week, bro, in 1 week's time, that shit is tethered and fucked up? Like, why would you treat a flag that you quote unquote
you're not
respect and want to
supposed to.
stand behind?
Well, because they're too stupid to realize they don't respect it.
Yeah, I mean that
Because
shit
that-
looks
that's
rugged after a week.
Clearly in the code of not to do to
Yeah.
the flag.
Well, and the whole
Fucking
Blue Lives Matter. I mean, you're not supposed to change the color of your
Yeah, you're not
flag
supposed
either,
to.
and they
Exactly,
do, and
yeah.
they love it. They
Yeah.
wave that shit with pride.
I see a lot of
awesome.
people. The
Nice.
guy
See
with
that-
those flags had that in his vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's what ignorance is all about. Hypocrisy and ignorance.
Yeah.
All in the name of supporting something that doesn't give a shit about you.
I'm
Yeah.
loudest,
And
so I'm right.
A lot. Those people too, and that's been coming out as far as like the people that are like, well, if you're doing no wrong, you have no reason to fear a cop like doing you
Right.
wrong or whatever, going against code. But when it comes down to it, it's coming out like they're having instances where they get the facts wrong as far as like the white people that don't fucking whatever. Like they're even like making mistakes on that front.
Well, check it. There's this. I assume at least you saw the case where like there was the black like psychiatrist guy or whatever that was walking with. I feel like his he had a client with him or whatever. Somebody that was in his
yeah.
care type thing. He was walking with him. Maybe he had autism or something, Down syndrome, something. Either way, they were out walking together, and they assumed that the cops assumed that
Yep,
the
I've
black
seen that.
dude was committing a crime, and he was like, "Look, I'm this guy's therapist. My hands are up. I'm on the ground. Don't you know?" And they fucking shot him.
Yeah.
What the
So
fuck?
whenever people bring up the case of like, just do what you're supposed to do and they won't
He
shoot
did
you, I say,
everything
well,
he was
did you know
supposed to.
about this?
Yeah.
And
What
they
a-
never knew about this.
No.
There's definitely
Yo,
some racist assholes that just want to go around killing
He
people.
did everything he was
That's
supposed to.
It's like,
bullshit.
learn the sides of the argument, you fucking dumb shits.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
even the guy that was in the hotel room. I know everybody saw it. I forget the fucking guy's name, but they made it. I mean, the
Or
dude
like
had an AR on him and everything,
Yeah.
and was like crawl to me and stuff. The dude was.
Oh, you mean the
crawling.
dude that like had his, he was, okay.
Him
that
and his
guy.
girlfriend were
Yeah.
like on their not a honeymoon but a date.
Yeah, and they
In
were
a
like, if
hotel
you
room.
move again.
Yeah, he was ready to shoot him.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
way
that dude
before
was
that.
like stressed way the fuck
Yeah.
out.
It's
The dude's
ridiculous.
pants were coming. His like ass was hanging out his dick, so he went to like pull his basketball shorts up while he's crawling. Dude unloads on him and fucking, I mean, executes him. And when it comes down to it,
Should have listened to the cops.
they
stupid
weren't
white
doing
kid.
anything. They weren't doing anything fucked up though. It was a missed call. It
I know.
was fucking. You
I've
know
seen
what I mean?
it. No,
Yeah.
the cop was way wrong in that
Oh, yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
But, he gets off with it.
For the sake of argument, for the Blue Lives Matter people, just listen to the police. There you go. There's your dead white kid.
Yeah,
Listen to
no
the cops,
shit.
Yeah,
retard.
dude.
Look,
and there's
there
there's a
is-
lot of those too that don't reach the news and shit. And if you brought those stories to the people, they'd
They'd excuse it away.
or
I mean,
say like fake news.
yeah,
Popular
definitely.
by Donald Trump.
Dude, did we talk about? I don't know. Did you guys see Jon Stewart on the Colbert Report? Because they're back like with an audience and shit. and
that's
Jon
cool.
Stewart came back on his first episode, and he came out and they were talking and shit, and he was like, "All right, so you know the Wuhan thing, you know the coronavirus." He's like, I genuinely believe this, that it came from a lab in Wuhan. And, you know, like previously, if you say that it came from China and the lab and stuff, you're racist.
Yeah.
But Jon Stewart, he's all like, the name of the virus is it's on the building. It's the Wuhan coronavirus research thing. He's like,
Yes.
how do you not put that together?
It's
and, like-
only handled in this one location.
So, like, Colbert thought, you know, he was just kind of like, all right, go on. But, you know, he was kind of like protecting the interests of the network, we'll
Yeah.
say. But, you know,
Yeah.
Jon Stewart was just like, no, I'm completely serious.
Yes.
It's
Dude.
on the shit. How do you not?
I have a
And
theory
now
about
people are
that.
like, oh, this is fine. Yeah, this
no,
is right.
I have a theory.
But I
about
mean, I
this,
support
dude.
it. I love Jon Stewart.
That whole thing, like before when all this shit started, right? You couldn't say that. Like they kept discrediting that. Like it didn't come from lab. Blah blah blah. China.
Blah blah blah. China.
Now though, it's gotten to a point where that's all you hear now. It's like, oh, now the Fauci shit's coming out with the email saying that it was from there and stuff. And I think it's America trying to put out propaganda, whether it did or didn't. That's not what I'm arguing about. It's the fact that you fought it so hard in the beginning that it wasn't, and now you're fighting so hard to get this information out that it was, so that we can back a war, that they can get the American people to back a war with China, so that they have the means and the right to go do that. Because without our agreement, without the American people's like willingness to go to war with China, they can't. They'll find a way. Trust that.
I mean, I can't really.
But
no, never mind. I can see it.
But fuck that. Like, that's what they did that shit with 9/11. Like, that war, they're even backtracking on all that. Like, we went in with false pretenses. Same way that we're going to do this one. Like, all the hate and shit.
We found a tool shed with a bomb in it.
Yep. It definitely belonged to this guy. Let's go blow up his country.
The more you hear about that, and that's the same hate Muslim people felt when 9/11 went down. Like, it's the same hate going on right now. The same fucking stupid, like, you know, it's
macho,
just ridiculous. And now it's coming out, and people are backing that shit and, like, you know, fuck China and blaming them for everything. Like,
the thing you see, it's like
what America does.
That's right. That's what America does. Because, you know, of our lack of education and our increasingly stupid population, you don't see people in, like, Russia taking out the Chinese people.
No.
They're like, oh, let's fucking go to war with China. They're like, yeah, you know. But
do you think
it's like, oh, China did it, so we gotta. But I don't know how much of a call for that exists. Because I mean, I know there's a portion of the population that's like, yeah, man, fuck, you gotta get China. But how big is that really?
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a slow. I think it's going to be a growing problem. And the reason is because America has to position themselves at any time to go to war with China for whatever reason they feel is necessary, right? But they have to have the American people, because we, as taxpayers, fund the war. So we have to back it with them. Of course,
no, they don't need us.
That's what I'm saying. Eventually, they'll fucking make their own. They'll come up with a reason to do it. But I think that they're pushing so much propaganda against China and telling us that China's so bad. And I don't even think China's over there fucking with it. I think they're just like, what are they talking about? They're like that fucking sibling that just got like punched out by their mom just because they look funny or they can't do their homework correct, like the other good kid.
I was just gonna say, I feel like America just needs to be at war. Like, doesn't it seem that way? Like,
the military
we just need
complex
to be blowing some shit up all the time. Just
there's
shooting
so
people.
much money dumped into the military. What is it called? Industrial military complex, whatever. Is that the phrase for it? Dude, it's fucking worth trillions.
Exactly what I thought.
And companies benefit from that. Big corporations benefit from war all the time. They always have. The shit is ridiculous, the money they spend for war and military. And so
Might is right.
Yeah. And without the American people backing that fact, they wouldn't have a reason. So they have to come up with it. And why not China? Because they have surpassed us in almost everything. So why not like go and destroy everything
That's
that they
hard
fucking
to do.
I know, it's like
I really just feel like
they
if
can do more push-ups too, I've heard.
Yes.
I've heard.
And I don't like that. I'm not down with that.
Our president
My
could
China
beat up their
push-up
president.
guy.
I just keep them in the basement.
I
Bring them up when I need them.
I feel like most world leaders could beat up Biden.
Yeah.
But the
God
whole
love
idea,
him.
though, of the China crap, you know, and the virus, I feel like most of it was just the left not wanting to listen to Trump. I mean, there's the whole thing of, like, let's not overreact too quickly, you know, because it could escalate. So don't blame China until we know for sure.
Yeah, get your facts straight.
But then at the same time, it's like, it's a combination of, let's get your facts straight, and, well, we can't let this son of a bitch be right. He says mean things.
Right.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of that going on.
There's just a lack of unity in general. Everyone just hating the other person, whoever that person is, because they don't agree.
I don't hate, because there's so much hate against Trump. Like that same, what you're talking about, the same scenario happened with him. So like after the hate started, like it did, nobody listened to anything else that came out of Trump's mouth. Everything was fucking trash.
Yeah, 100%. I am guilty of that. He's a fucking idiot.
But
there's no validity to anything that comes out of his mouth.
I'm sure that it's probably 50-50. He did really great shit.
Or is that what you think?
Both.
Okay, well then you're right and you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But I think he probably did a lot of good, and I think he probably did a lot of bad, just like every other president.
That's just that stupid ass defense mechanism that the left has. I can't think of any instances where the right is all like, oh, well, you say this about this, therefore I'm going to shut down and listen to nothing else that you say, because the right tends to be more on board with free speech. Whereas the left, it's like, oh, you said this on this date, therefore
you hurt my feelings.
Nothing that you say is valid.
Yeah.
And that is stupid.
Yeah.
I just feel like, because I'm not typically like that, but with him specifically, this situation, everything I looked up, he was lying.
Oh, yeah, he's a lying bag of shit.
So,
but, I mean, every politician that we have is.
Yeah, they just
maybe
lie in
this is
different
just
ways.
a different level of bullshit falling out of your mouth on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I think with him, he has zero apology about him, because he's not trying to cover it with anything.
Yeah.
It's just you
Here
see
it
the
is.
honest face of a full-on liar, and you're like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
With these other politicians, they hide
Dress
behind
it
their
up.
facade. They're like, yeah, I'm a lying piece of shit, but I'm also in it for the people. You know?
Yeah.
It just there
Just
has
do
to
it
be
a different way.
You have to have some truth that comes out of your mouth. At a certain point, if you don't trust someone, it doesn't matter what they do or say.
Right?
You don't trust it. So
Yeah.
with all the other not all of them, but politicians in the world, like
Majority.
you feel comfortable with the decisions they're making and so on and so forth.
Oh, I don't
and
feel that.
yeah,
No.
nuh-uh.
It's what?
Oh no, I just think it's there's just a lot of, I guess, ignorance and hate and disdain for the other side, and it really, I think, contributes to the whole thing of I just want to kill you dead or go to war with China, or it's their fault or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even I thought initially when I looked up like Tucker Carlson, because I don't watch news or anything, and when I did, and it's been months ago, right? And I liked how he was approaching things, and he was not talking against Trump, but like kind of showing you like the facts and like, oh, this was wrong, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But in general, like Fox News is owned by a big corporation that tells them the narrative in which to push. What Fox News does is they dress it up differently. They're giving you the same exact message that all the other ones are. They just dress it up differently to
It's
appeal
opinion-based.
to a different audience that wouldn't normally watch a certain type of news, right? So the people who watch like MSNBC and fucking CNN or whatever, like who watch it, the majority of people are leftists, right? That watch Fox
I
News.
feel like we're completely 50-50.
Yeah, Fox News is for the right, MSNBC is for the left.
Okay. Well, that's I think though that with the right and left, those are two entirely different types of people, right? So you have to approach it differently. But when it comes down to it, like Tucker Carlson comes from the same corporate money that all the other assholes do.
That's the problem. People look at pundits as though they're actually just news anchors. News anchors give you the facts. Pundits choose something that's rooted in reality, and then they say what they want.
Yeah. It's the National Enquirer, but on TV.
Yeah, but then people take that as, oh, this is fact, because
Yeah.
I agree with it.
Well, that's
Because it appeals to me.
But I mean, with the idea of Fox News and stuff, and when was the last time you watched anything on Fox News?
Oh, that was probably like the first and like of 5 things that I've ever watched.
When was the last time you watched anything on like MSNBC?
No,
probably less than.
I don't watch any. The only stuff I watch, and it's to try to be as unbiased as possible, and to see the outlook on both sides. Is like when I have like Kenny sends me something,
If you have
or
a
if Mike
question.
sends me something, like I'm not going to immediately shut down because those Kenny and Mike are two different people, right? That have different views on the way world works.
Right.
So when they send me things, like I like to watch both of them in full. I don't just watch the beginning of it or whatever in full to get my own opinion on it. And I don't, at the end of it, I don't think it's wrong or right. I'm just like, oh, that's interesting, right? Because being unbiased is like, you can't be unbiased without being neutral, being absolutely neutral and not hating one or the other and just judging it for what it is. Like you can't have a view on either side if you're neutral. Because
Right.
if I lean more to the left because I think they're more right, well, that's my opinion. That's not truth. So you have to be neutral. That's a biased opinion.
Well, that's the problem, though, is that the news isn't giving you fact. They're giving you their spin on reality. So they're
Yeah.
giving you opinion. If they just delivered facts, it
they'd
wouldn't
have
be
no
as fucking
viewers.
chaotic.
Yeah.
No.
They would have viewers. They've always had viewers. Everyone's watched the news forever.
But you think that would get
Well,
it
since there
without
was a TV. Yeah.
without narrative pushing and just like have a camera in the corner of whatever's happening, like
Well,
you think it would
See, I
people
think
would
it's
watch
like
that?
the whole people would watch it, but not as many, and they wouldn't be as passionate about it. They wouldn't talk about it
Yeah, it wouldn't
as
be this
actively.
bullshit.
But I feel like the role of the pundits is to piece things together. Like the whole idea of basing it on a fact or two and then spinning their own web. It gives
Yeah.
people a perspective that they can digest without actually having to put their pieces together. There's
They
a lot
have
of
somebody
people.
doing it for it.
Yeah, a lot of people. I don't know what percentage I would say it is, but not nearly enough aren't into critical thinking.
Right.
So
I
they
was gonna
they
say,
see
lot
a
of people
use
perspective
that brain less.
where it's like if they have a perspective that's based on information and knowledge, they're going to be a lot more laid back about it. But then if your shit's based on emotion, you're going to be fired up and not really know
Like seeing
why
red.
really. I mean, you
Right.
know why you're fired up. Yeah, you get that seeing red feeling, but if they're like, well, okay, so tell me why you feel this way. Well, because so and so said.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what's the reality of that? What's another view of that?
The majority of people,
I
bro,
don't know.
everybody I
Right.
talk to
I'll tell you.
is every time they have something that they feel very passionate about, it ends with it's because I watched this or it's because I read this, right?
Right, yeah.
It's not
and they
because
don't-
it's morally wrong.
Yeah.
It's,
and I'm okay with that if that's how you base your emotional reaction to things, but like how do you feel like morally speaking
Yeah.
on the situation, right? And that's the only reason I'm saying about like don't watch any news. And I'm saying anybody, even people who are like I'm on the fringe and I do my show like on Periscope. I think that used to be a thing, right? It like even that is technically that's news still. And if you are to the thought that the corporations own everything, and would you think that anybody operating on YouTube or any fucking big outlet can tell you anything that's like truth seeking or different than what the narrative that the government wants to push is? Like, do you honestly, you know what I mean? Like, you can't say, well, I
I
watched
think
this
they'd
other
come in
person.
and shut it down.
Yeah, they would white it out. Like, they'd be like, no, that
Maybe.
ain't happening.
I mean, to a degree, yes, but no.
Well, I guess the Q stuff slipped through, so they didn't
Yeah.
see that coming.
I think
don't know.
really it's maybe if perhaps it would depend on what they want to have going on.
Yeah.
Or I mean they just put the information out there and well that way we don't look like we're just pushing this one side of it.
Yeah,
I would just question any outlet, even if it's just an independent person doing it in their basement. Like, you got to think about that. Like, you can't like that person. Like, what are their life experiences? What are their professional outlooks? Like, you got to question everything, because when it comes down to it, is any of it like it doesn't fucking matter.
So that's the annoying thing about all of it, because like in the past, it's like, oh, Walter Cronkite, he's cool, man. We had Tom Brokaw, he was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we have that now.
No, definitely not.
Really, I think like the closest thing that we had to it was Jon Stewart, which is pretty fucked up. but I saw an interview with him like after the the Colbert thing. But this was in like 2018 maybe that I watched it. And it's just the way he was talking about the political climate relating to Trump and stuff. It's just his level-headedness and his ability to look at both sides of it and say, well, I mean, they're both stupid. And he could pull facts from like historical times and like modern facts and shit and see both sides of it. And then whenever he left the Daily Show, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Because then it turned from, well, yeah, we're just going to tear down the system. Let's stick it to all politicians and both sides of it. And then Trevor Noah, he took over. And then I watched the first few episodes because I was like, all right, great.
Yeah.
But then it just became preaching to the left.
Yeah.
And then it just,
It's funny how that happened.
it went downhill from there.
Well,
And
I think it's
we
going to
need
happen
to
to
get
all of
shit
it.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and a lot of those people, even like all the videos that I think that are really interesting that I watch, like Second Thought, and then these other things about like economics and history and stuff. Most people now, like, we're just regurgitating shit that somebody else said that they're regurgitating, that somebody else said that they're
It's a whole
regurgitating.
lot
That
of watered down
yeah,
shit.
they
Copy of
don't.
a
Nobody has to go
copy.
study. Like nobody has to. You know, back in the day, they used to go to Cuba. That thing we watched where the guy went to Cuba while that whole issue was going on.
Yeah, see what's happening
it was-
here.
yeah, because he wanted to know like what actually was going on. How do the people feel about it? How does Fidel Castro handle business on a day-to-day basis? Right?
Yeah.
That was truly journalism and shit. But most of these people are just like pulling some dumbass article or video that they watched and they regurgitate it to you in a different light that they think that they're doing whatever.
I can't tell you how many articles I see by different like journalism companies, I guess, that are just, what's Reddit saying about
the same
this?
shit.
What?
Yeah.
Let's go to the
I
ground.
swear to God, how is that?
That is kind of
That's
what
not
we do.
What
journalism.
you're presenting, you literally
that-
are just copy paste.
Sammy, while I kind of, I quickly agreed with you, but then I thought about what was going on. News traditionally is just, here's what happened. Let's go to the streets, find out what the people are saying, and they interview them, and they play their 10-second
Oh, I
clip,
guess that's true.
and then there you go. So I mean, this is really just a bigger scale
Yeah,
of that, but without faces, and the whole
Yeah.
idea of not having faces
it's odd.
makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because, it's like, oh, we're talking to Susie Collins down here. And, she's like, she says this. And then she stands by it. She's not just talking wildly. But on the internet,
Look, you would think
Blimbo
though,
24 says,
you would think that not having faces attached to it would make it a little easier to form your own opinion about it because you don't have that person's face to form an opinion on. Because
Yeah,
I know if I
absolutely.
see someone who you look stupid, I don't care what you have to say. It takes me a little bit to.
But then it's like that shortcoming has the opposite for whenever people are faceless because they could just say wild ass shit. Mm-hmm. That's when the trolls can come out.
Yeah.
And if they're not trolls and they're just saying things genuinely, then they can say things as ignorantly as they want and they don't have to consider it.
Right.
They just say it. And they're like, see, I was on the news.
I would say though that like the stuff slipping through as far as like allowing things on the internet is like the government, if they were to shut things down that were on the fringe or whatever, I would assume that they wanted something like the stuff that happened at the Capitol to happen. Like they probably could have stopped that at any time, but wouldn't you want that to happen if you were trying to have more
Right.
control over the people? You would want them to rise up and do some crazy shit like that.
Not even necessarily as control over the people. I kind of look at that as a stress test for the country itself. Like if we can get through that and have that go down in the historical record.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a lot of other crazy shit's happened politically at the White House and all this other crap. So to think that the country can't push through that if that's what brought it down, then it's like, okay, well, fuck it. We're not our system isn't as strong as we thought it was.
Yeah, it's like
but if we make it through that, and then like 6 years from now, it's like, okay, things are good. Or it's like, and shit got more fucked up after that.
Yes.
Then maybe we can go through the stress test of that and then be fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, if not, we'll find out.
Right?
So I think there's so much to think about on every aspect that it's just like, that's why I don't really have a say, and I'm neutral on everything, because I just don't have the mental capacity.
I was sitting here thinking you went on a big old rant about China. Well, not about them, but about our government.
I just feel like
you're more grounded in objectivity.
Yeah.
But you're not neutral.
Not neutral in that sense, but neutral in the fact that I will listen to all sides
just
of it
accept the shit
without judgment on the issue.
Right.
But you're right, like about that shit. I don't like war. I don't like what it does to people. I don't like none of that.
Certainly
and I don't
pointless.
especially when it's baseless. Just like the Iraq war, that's still in a matter of like cleanup and shit. And we're still occupying a country that we had no business occupying in the first place.
With that kind of stuff, it's like maybe the official reason that they gave us was to cover the unofficial reason.
Yeah.
So if they're just telling us everything, so they're like, oh, the American people could be informed of what we're doing, then so can Iraq, so can Afghanistan. All the terrorists will know everything. Russia and China will know everything.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
And that's not a very good approach to things. I mean,
same with the like holding the videos and stuff like that. There's a reason they do things that are. It's like talking about God. Like they're always like, oh, God has a higher like. The way he thinks is, you can't comprehend it. Well, maybe the government
can't comprehend it.
Like maybe we can't. Like we don't have a team. A team of fucking professional scientists that like think every outcome to everything. Like we don't know that. Maybe they have a method to the madness and the lying.
Well, I mean, they think they do, but realistically, they're still just human. Yeah. So I mean, they can have whatever grand ideas they want, but.
I'm sure they can't possibly see every possible outcome.
Did you guys see where Joe Biden was talking about the people overthrowing the government and stuff?
No.
He was like, yeah, it's kind of like in reference to the Second Amendment and shit. He's like, if people have their guns and stuff, they want to protect themselves from the government. He's like, they're gonna need like assault rifles and nukes if they really want to. Yes, dude.
That's awesome.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying they won't. Come at me, bro.
But then that kind of says that he's not about taking people's guns away.
No.
For purposes of defense. He could still push for regulation to minimize criminal activity.
And stupid acts of violence.
But, it didn't come across to me as he was saying, we need to take people's guns away. It's like, look, have your guns. If we want to fuck you up, we'll fuck you up. You better get some nukes.
Definitely.
But have your guns.
Better step your game up.
It's like a sleight of hand threat.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
That's cool. Biden. And I thought maybe we need to get like a plutonium society going among the civilians.
Among the civilians.
That's something that you were like, why don't the American people, we bitch and complain about like taxes and the like medical insurance and shit like that, or like why don't we create all of that for ourselves, right? Why do we rely like on the government? What if we got everybody together and like sourced it through everybody? So everybody, let's all pay into a pot that's not connected to the government, because it's already taxed from your paycheck.
Well, because then to get away from that, like when we got away from the Brits, we'd have to war with them. So to set up our own shit.
And we will lose, as Biden's told us.
He's like, look, you can have whatever smart-ass idea you want, boy, but you better have nukes.
Even like the lottery is ran through a large corporation that encompasses a bunch of states, right? They may call it the Kentucky Lottery, but it encompasses a bunch of states, right? So why don't we all just your odds would go up 100% if you were just got a big-ass group of people from all these states and we're like, hey, every week we're going to put $1 in, everybody. And then somebody's going to win some money, right? Why do we have to have these constructs
Because there's regulation in place to shut
keep
that
normal
shit
people
down.
from doing it?
Yeah, I mean, you
To
can't
keep the
just start
people
your own
down?
lottery in a legal way. You could
That's-
have like a dark web lottery where you win Bitcoin every week.
it legally?
But, well, then you have to change the laws.
It's a very interesting idea, though. Like, I mean, for like insurance is what I'm thinking about specifically.
one,
Yeah, like, how do you? I've never even thought about that. That has never once entered my mind. How would
Like
you? Could you?
crowdsource. Yeah, you could get people. It's crowdsourcing. You can do that.
You
It's
could.
just like
But then think
fucking.
about the type of the people that are going to come to you. They're going to
Well,
be the people
they gotta
that...
pay though. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're going to pay. Okay, so here, give me this much money for the week. And then you're going to pay for their health shit. But then it's the weak people that are going to come to you. The weak, poor people that are looking
so
for a
then you would just
discount
turn
on
into
insurance. And then you're
Yeah.
going to be losing more than you're gaining. And then the thing that you started for a good purpose is going to get driven into the ground because you get the poor, sick
Maybe.
people.
Maybe
Or
though.
you started out with the poor sick people who need help, and then
And fix them, the problem.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then like it gets, oh well, someone who matters saw what was going on and was like, oh, I want to be a part of
be a
this
part of
too, and then it spreads. I mean,
That's
that's
a great leap,
An
bro.
idea that's an idealistic approach, and it would be nice if it worked that way. But it also kind of it makes me think of like, like whenever you're a kid, like whenever we didn't have a buttload of money, all the kids and stuff would be like, it was always the poor kids in the neighborhood that were like, oh yeah, man, I got you on them Fritos.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're helping each other along the way on the little stuff. It's like, I'm poor. If I'm eating, you're eating. But yeah, if I'm getting a heart bypass and you got lung cancer, I got you, boy. I can't even afford my own shit.
right.
It's probably gonna go that way.
But
because
there's
if not,
never been a situation where that happens. So how would you base your opinion if we've never seen it happen?
Well, I'd like to think the fact that we've never seen it happen is probably a good indicator that it wouldn't happen, because there are
just
plenty of
also
rich people with
complicit.
motivation
Yeah.
that aren't getting in to help people.
Oh yeah,
Because
but
if they could, then
probably not
but they
going to.
haven't, so they're probably not going to.
No, they're just gonna sit on their money and then watch everybody perish.
Yeah, I mean, there is the argument to be made that maybe they're just waiting for a cause. They want something to throw money behind, but probably not.
probably not.
I like the idea of exploring this further. Like, what would you even have to do to get an insurance company going to cover, if we wanted to cover just us right here to start it, what would you even have to do? I don't even know where you would
Imagine
begin.
You'd have to start with lawyers.
Yeah, everything starts with a lawyer.
Yeah, or like
Or find a
a
lawyer.
middleman, because somebody
for free.
as an insurance company, you're going to be negotiating with doctors and pharmacy companies.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much going to have to find your little
Like
insect
network
spray
of people.
salesman,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
have him pitch the companies and the doctors and say, look, we're a collective. We're trying to help people stay healthy. Can you give us a 10% discount on your services?
Yeah.
Because that's essentially all insurance is.
Yeah,
Just going
that's all
in,
they
wheeling
do.
and dealing with people for a better price. And then that's essentially just capitalism at its finest. Hey, we'll buy more if you'll sell it to us for less.
Yeah.
So starting out as a smaller insurance company,
What if
you
you
wouldn't be able
came
to
up?
help that much.
What if you came up with your own company, right? Since we get penalized at the end of the year, you just come up with an insurance company, a shell company, if you will,
That sounds like
And
George
then-
Costanza with the Human Fund.
and then you just saved your money for when that shit happened.
Yeah.
And then you didn't get penalized and none of that. But you're like, hey, I got insurance. It's through this blah, blah, blah company. And I don't know. There just has to be a better way than what we're doing now, because people are suffering and people die for reasons that it shouldn't even happen. It shouldn't be a for-profit. Medical shouldn't be for-profit. They shouldn't sell medical equipment for profit. Shit costs 3,000% more here. Some medicines do. You know what I mean? Shit that we as taxpayers paid to develop.
Right.
We get charged 400% more than Mexico. It's baffling, bro. That's all I'm saying is if we're dumb enough to let that shit happen without saying anything, trust me, we don't have a dog in no fight. We're fucking idiots, every single one of us, because if you allow that to go on, and your tax money that you fucking want to like raise shit about all the fucking time,
money.
you always want to talk shit about that. You develop these cancer medications that they charge 400% more here, where you developed it. And you don't say shit about it. And not only that, but you vote back into a system that did it in the first place, you stupid motherfucker. Like, you get what I'm saying? Hey, how are you going to vote into a system that fucks you every chance to get? Democrat or Republic, don't matter. They fuck you either way, right?
So
I mean,
what
if
are
you vote for
supposed to do?
Bernie, it would be fine.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But when has a party outside of the two-party system ever won? Like, it always gets shut down. Even at the, like, last moment, always gets shut down. If Bernie would have won, I think that would have been pretty dope to see how that played
At
out.
this point, yeah, because, you know, they have the House and the Senate, I think. But
Hell yeah.
without having that shit, you know, it's like you could have
Wouldn't
Bernie in
matter.
office, but then, yeah, you can't get anything through.
Can't get nothing to, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you stupid motherfuckers voting into the system. But, I mean, if you don't vote, then you're just as fucked.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, people need to start voting smarter.
I want to
but
build a spaceship.
Within the
bro.
idea of voting smarter, it's like you have to have better options. And that's
Yeah.
not what really rises. The people that actually want to help people tend to get crushed
Yeah.
because
usually.
they have good hearts. So, you know, the good-hearted people don't have the proper people campaigning in the dirty modern ways that seem to be needed.
And they don't have that cash flow curve.
Right? Because
Okay.
because the people with the money don't want to fund somebody that's just gonna fuck them out of money.
Yeah, fuck them.
Hey, I'm taking on the pharmacy companies. Well, we're not gonna fund this guy
fuck
anymore.
this guy.
And there goes billions. So let's go grassroots and get billions. And it's possible, but
Unlikely.
it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's easier to just pull a bunch of money from people that are gonna fuck other people, and you just spend your whole life fucking everybody, and then you have your Epsteins that die.
That die. So what I took from this is nothing's gonna change.
Right.
Pretty much.
Cool. All right,
Enjoy
guys.
the ride.
Unless we get nukes.
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can get personal nukes, guys. Everyone's gonna die.
We used to talk about that in middle school. Just little miniature nukes instead of cherry bombing people's toilets. You know, we just drop nukes in there.
It's awesome. It's so good. You remember
Man.
the mom would call
Man.
microwave and stuff nuke
Yes.
it.
Nuke. That's awesome.
Yo,
Okay, sorry,
man.
that's it.
That was another episode of the Wildly Uninteresting podcast.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed it, thumbs up. If you did not, thumbs down and put a comment and let us know how
Yeah,
fucking
put in the
stupid
comments.
we are.
Let us
Yeah.
know.
Let us know if you want to buy into our insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insurance companies started today. No, thank you for watching us. If you paid attention this long, it's awesome. If you have something to say, say it. If you have any fucking outlooks, man, any way we can do better, let us know. Other than that, I'm fucking gonna give me some tacos.
Alright.
Tackles.
That was episode 111 of the Wildly
That was
Uninteresting
episode
podcast.
111 of the Wildly Uninteresting podcast.
Scat, I didn't realize we were ending. Skibbity bop, bop,
Wildly Uninteresting podcast.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.